Good morning. I'm coming to you again from my home in Marietta, and I just wanted to touch base with you on what the Apostle Paul said to us in the 8th chapter of the book of Romans concerning the flesh versus the spirit. The conflict that is between the spirit and the flesh, which we all have. It's even after we're born again, this still goes on. Let's just look at it. It's better in his words than in mine. In chapter 8, verse 5, for they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh, but they that are after the Spirit of the things of the Spirit. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. Because the carnal mind is enmity against God, for it is not subject to the law of God, neither indeed can it be. So then, they that are in the flesh cannot please God. But ye are not in the flesh, but in the Spirit, if so be that the Spirit of God dwell in you. Now, if any man have not the Spirit of Christ, he is none of his. And if Christ be in you, the body is dead because of sin, but the Spirit is life because of righteousness. But if the Spirit of him that raised up Jesus from the dead dwell in you, he that raised up Christ from the dead shall also quicken your mortal bodies by his Spirit that dwelleth in you. Therefore, brethren, we are debtors not to the flesh, to live after the flesh. For if ye live after the flesh, ye shall die. But if ye through the Spirit do mortify the deeds of the body, ye shall live. For as many as are led by the Spirit of God, they are the sons of God. For ye have not received the spirit of bondage, again to fear, but ye have received the spirit of adoption, whereby we cry, Abba, Father. The Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit that we are the children of God. Well, I just wanted to read that, and when I do my little pauses, I'm reflecting on it. Because I'm being taught as I read, and when I teach Sunday school classes, I'm being taught as I share with the class. I think that's great. There's a lot of explanation starting in verse 5 through 8 pertaining to lost people. People who do not have the Spirit of Christ in their heart. And then it quickly jumps to edifying those of us that are Christians. And many that read this will not be saved. They'll not be sure if they're saved. But many are. And many will be sure they're saved. And they'll know that this is for their edification. A reminder. You know, that's something I've learned in my later years. Is I didn't just learn something one time and that was it. I begin to forget things. And so the Lord has His Word. He has Himself. I like to say it that way. This is the Lord. John 1:1. He is the Word. This is Him, and He's got it in writing. Just for old fellows like me that's losing some of their memory, to be able to refer back. Yes, when I read it, I realize I've read it and talked about it for 50 years, off and on. But for a reminder in my soul for this moment, I read it, and I read it to you, and I hope it reminds some of you. I'm not a theologian, but there's nowhere in this Word says I have to be. Now, it says study to show thyself approved, but you know, it doesn't say you got to go to X Bible college, and which I think those are great. That's another subject for another day. But I wished I could have gone. Well, I could have, but I passed up the opportunity. Looking back now, I wished I had. They teach you so much that it opens your eyes, your spiritual eyes. But you don't have to do that. The Holy Spirit is your professor. God Himself. He's not going to leave ignorant people like me out here by ourselves to do the best we can. His Spirit is going to bear witness with my spirit and your spirit that we are the children of God. And that's exactly what He's doing. And that's all I want to do is remind myself this morning that I am a child of God. And for those of you listening that know you are, I love you, brethren. And if I've never met you here,